This is Warzone Jones, and this is my MMA video about Jon Jones and Rashad Evans. This is about the beef, the heat between Jon Jones and Rashad Evans. This heat between Jon Jones and Rashad Evans, it makes for an interesting storyline. You know, it's like these guys have it's like it's all about betrayal. Rashad Evans feels betrayed. Jon Jones doesn't necessarily feel betrayed, but he feels very disrespected. But this whole thing is about disrespect, betrayal, grudge match. And everybody loves a good grudge match. Now, Jon Jones and Rashad Evans, everybody pretty much know these guys used to be teammates. These guys made a pact not to fight each other. They made a pact not to fight each other because they were friends, and then they were teammates. They worked with each other. They worked out with each other. They helped each other evolve their game. But unfortunately, these guys, well, they have to fight each other. But it's not unfortunate. Unfortunately for them, you could say, but fortunate for us. But it's like this. Jon Jones has said in the interview that he would fight Rashad Evans. And when Rashad Evans heard that, he didn't like it. He didn't like that because they made a pact not to fight each other. And when Rashad Evans heard that, he felt betrayed. As a matter of fact, he just didn't feel betrayed by Jon Jones. He felt betrayed by Greg Jackson, the guy who is the leader of their training camp, the Greg Jackson training camp. He's the leader of that. He's siding with Jon Jones to back him in his corner after Greg Jackson had told him that he wasn't going to back him up, that he wasn't going to corner him, in their fight. And I can understand why Greg Jackson is going to corner him in his fight because, Jon Jones, he's the future. He's the future. Not that Rashad's not going to be in the UFC in the future, but Jon Jones is said to be the future. Jon Jones he looks like, he's the type of guy that's just going to dominate the next 10 years. And I can understand why he looks like he can't be beaten. And that's why I think personally Greg Jackson is going to back him up because of that. Because he sees that nobody really ever actually sees that in Rashad Evans. Rashad Evans is a great fighter. He has great talent. But nobody's really has ever actually said that, that he looks invincible and that he can't be beaten. That's the way Jon Jones looks right now. Pound for pound, I can't be beaten right now. Who can fuck with me, basically. That's the way he looks right now. So that's why I think Greg Jackson is backing him up. That's just what I think personally. But back to the heat. Basically, it's like this. Rashad Evans feels betrayed. He says things like Jon Jones is fake. He says he's fake. And even before then, he even said that he was going to whoop his ass. He said, Rashad Evans has said that Jon Jones walked up to him and told him that he was going to whip his ass. Literally said that. So imagine somebody walks up to you. Your best friend says, hey, I'm going to whip your ass. I'm going to make you look like a punk. I'm going to make you look like you ain't strong, like you ain't got it no more, basically. So if your best friend walks up to you and talks you down like that, and by the way, he actually means it, how are you going to feel about that? Are you going to like that? I know I want to like that from my best friend. That guy's supposed to be my friend. No, we're not going to like that. So Rashad didn't like that Jon Jones was just talking him down like that. Jon Jones has said that Rashad is at the end of his career. He literally said that. Now, I don't believe that. I'm a big fan of Rashad Evans. Rashad ain't at the end of his career, although he's a little bit older than Jon Jones. I think Rashad is 31. He's not at the end of his career. Dan Henderson, 41, 42 years old, and this guy's still knocking guys out and having great fights. So, clearly he feels disrespected and he left that camp because there was just too much beefing going on between that. There was just too much heat between Greg Jackson and Rashad Evans and Jon Jones and Rashad Evans, and he left and he went to go start his own camp. He went to another camp, the Black Zillions. Everybody says that Jon Jones is going to whoop Rashad Evans' ass. Going to dominate. A lot of people don't actually think that Rashad Evans doesn't stand a chance. I don't feel that way. That's not true. That's not true. I don't care how invincible or how amazing Jon Jones look. I wouldn't necessarily say that Rashad Evans doesn't have a chance. Now, here's the reason why people say Rashad Evans doesn't have a chance. Well, because Jon Jones is tall and he's been dominant in each and every last one of his fights. Rashad Evans is smaller. I think he's about 5'11". and he hasn't looked that good as Jon Jones. Let's be honest here. Although he's always pretty much looked good in his fights, except for that one with Lyoto Machida, but he never really dominated a guy that like beat the holy hell out of anybody like Jon Jones has. Although he has had knockout victories, knocked out highlight reels, knocked out Chuck Liddell, what's that guy named Sean Salmon, I think I said his name right. Over plenty of guys. He stopped plenty of great fighters. Plenty. Jon Jones is the heavy favorite. I understand why, but guess what? That doesn't necessarily mean that Rashad Evans doesn't stand a chance. Rashad Evans is a great fighter. Let's be honest with you. He's a former champion. So, the person who I think necessarily is going to win, this isn't necessarily a predictions video, but the person who I think is going to win this, I think Rashad Evans is going to pull an upset. That's just how I feel. That's just what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he's going to pull an upset. That's just how I feel. That's my opinion. I think he's going to pull an upset. It wouldn't surprise me if he lose. It wouldn't even surprise me if he win, because I think he can beat Jon Jones. So, that's all I have to say about this video. I'm looking forward to this fight. MMA. I'm looking forward to the next fight. The next pay-per-view. I'm just looking forward to MMA, period. So, this is What's on Jones. If you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel. I'm out. Deuces.